Hello, this is your presenter, Kaitlin. Today I will be addressing the first prompt. How might the bioecological model of human development help organize the Christian mission to reach out to the world? Is there any particular system that seems more important or needs immediate attention than others? If so, which system and why? Provide illustrations to show its importance in the lives of children and/or families. Bronfenbrenner describes his bioecological model of human development as an evolving theoretical system for the scientific study of human development over time. In this model, development is defined as the phenomena of continuity and change in the biopsychological characteristics of human beings, both as individuals and as groups. Bronfenbrenner's model is extensive, taking into account the individual's microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem, and the chronosystem, with an emphasis on the interactions taking place between process, person, context, and time. It is my opinion that the biological model of human development can be a useful framework from which to consider the role of the individual and the church in the fulfillment of the Great Commission. In Matthew 28, verses 19 through 20, Jesus said, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." The gospel is the epitome of universal truth for all time, for all people, and for all circumstances, and its influence and relevance ought to be all-encompassing, including each of the elements of Bronfenbrenner's bioecological model: families, schools, workplaces, cultures, etc. The bioecological model of human development provides several potential points of intervention in which the church could practically get involved. Regarding the question of whether there is any particular system that seems more important or needs immediate attention than others, I don't think there is one right answer to this question. I can see how each system affects and is affected by the others. Each system carries weight and holds the potential for change and intervention. If I'm forced to choose one, then for me it makes the most sense to begin at the individual's microsystem, because changes at this level will ripple out and eventually reach the other systems. One point of intervention in the microsystem level that I would like to address involves supporting single mothers. The bioecological model of human development has important insights to offer us on the subject of single mothers, and this is an area where the church and individual Christians can take an active role. As a mom of a 5-year-old, I can attest to the importance of receiving support from others in my role as mom, whether it be the support of my husband, my friends, my church family, my extended family, or even from the government where I live. Something that really stood out to me when I was reading Bronfenbrenner and Morris's chapter on the biological model of human development was this, from page 816. In order to develop intellectually, emotionally, socially, and morally, a child requires for all of them the same thing: participation in progressively more complex reciprocal activity on a regular basis over extended periods of time, with one or more other persons with whom the child develops a strong, mutual, irrational attachment, and who are committed to that child's development, preferably for life. A second proposition goes a step further. The establishment and maintenance of patterns of progressively more complex interaction and emotional attachment between caregiver and child depend, in substantial degree, on the availability and active involvement of another adult who assists, encourages, spells off, gives status to, and expresses admiration and affection for the person caring for and engaging in joint activity with the child. Taken together, the foregoing propositions present an important qualifier to the general finding that children growing up in single-parent families are at greater developmental risk than those in two-parent structures. Now, I'm not a single mom, and there are certainly times that I find myself wishing for more support in my role as a mom, so I can only imagine how that need and desire must be compounded for a single mother. This is one role that the church can help fulfill, both for its members who are single mothers and single mothers in their community. It certainly would be a practical way of showing love to your single mother neighbor, benefiting her children, the mom herself, and ultimately the community. Practical ways of involvement could range from a simple word of encouragement to a more involved program, helping single moms with financial struggles, equipping them with practical skills, and providing childcare alternatives for those who need them. I recently read the book called Generous Justice by Tim Keller on the subject of social justice. He provides an excellent theological background on the subject of social justice and includes examples of practical ways for Christians and churches to get involved. I would highly recommend reading it to any Christian who is interested in making an impact in his or her community. One of the examples that he gives in his book is about a single mother in his church who happened to also literally be the church's neighbor. She was renting a small house near the church. She had serious financial problems and 4 children, and the church offered to help her pay some outstanding bills. A few months later, it turned out that she had been spending the money frivolously. Instead of putting it towards the bills, she was taking her children out to restaurants and buying them new bikes. Probably most would have written her off and felt justified in doing so, but Pastor Tim and the church deacons inquired further and realized that this single mother had spent the money this way out of a sort of misdirected way of providing a normal family life for her kids, in her perspective. More than financial help, she needed a long-term plan and support to help her children have a better life. It was at this point that Pastor Tim Keller and others in the church were able to offer support for her and her children to help them in the long term, including helping her put together a long-term plan, pay off some immediate bills, and provide intentional role models for her kids that would come alongside her and strengthen her in her role as their mother. This practical support had an important effect on the single mother and her children, as well as in the lives of those who were helping, and certainly for the community. When we are living our lives in accordance with the gospel and reflecting God's love to others, we can't not have an impact on our families, our communities, and our world.